Hey guys, welcome for joining the WhatsApp group. And today I'm going to just talk a little bit about fire. The reason is, of course, it's been one of the very popular topics. So let's get into the details. So, what is fire? Fire is financially independent, retire early. It's the whole concept has been around for quite some time, but in one of the recent times, let's say 7, 8 years ago, Mr. Money Mustache, you can look him up, and he is one of the guys who made it more popular. So he worked in a tech job, and at some point when he reached a particular financial number, he said, "Hey, I'm going to stop working, and I'm going to do something that I enjoy doing, which is basically he liked doing a lot of carpentry and spending a lot of time with his son." So yeah, there's a few TED talks about him, and that's how the whole concept came up. And then the question was, how does he push himself to realize this journey? And that's how this whole moment started, the fire moment. So if you talk about the fire moment itself, of course, there's a bit of basic maths going in, and then it's very clear how you can achieve it. There's a lot of calculators online, and I will show you also in the calculator how you can calculate for yourself. Of course, and then there's a few more flavors to these fires moments. So, and you can kind of choose between these flavors. So the fire moment itself is you try to save aggressively, and you of course try to invest most of this money either into bonds, ETFs, stocks, whatever is of your liking. But then of course then you have to make this assumption that you're at least making about 8 to 10% a year in return, and because of this then you are able to hit your retirement goal. So let's say if you have a goal that you want to retire, and you want to retire with an annual expense of 50,000 euros, which is about 4,000 and a bit every month. So this is net. So net, you get 4,000 euros every month for yourself, and you can almost do nothing to get this money. You just sit at home, and you get to withdraw 4,000 euros every month. And technically, how you achieve this is basically if you expect to have an annual expense of 50,000 euros, you take 50,000 euros and multiply it by 25, which is 1.25 million. So if you have a corpus of 1.25 million, for making this story a little bit more easy, in S&P 500, which gives you about 8 to 10% return, you are able to then get easily 50,000 euros every year, and which means you can kind of live for a good 30, 40, 50 years in retirement, and you don't have to do any work. The reason you can withdraw and still live is because the money is growing. So if you have 1.25 million, if you say 8 to 10%, the money grows every year. So on average, you're making about 100,000 euros return on your investment, 120,000 euros return on your investments every year, but you're only withdrawing 50,000, so which is about 4%. That's what you're withdrawing. But the rest from that year of 60, 70,000 that you've made in returns, you're leaving it back in the market, which is growing. That way it's correcting for inflation. Yeah, so this is kind of the basic concept. And if you look at the calculator, which I'm running it over here.
Okay guys, let's go to this tool over here, Wallet Burst, and you have there different types of fire. And let's go to the fire calculator. Of course, everything is in dollars, so don't look at it. Just assume everything is in euros. Let's start doing putting some inputs for myself. And then you can also play around with it a bit. So if you assume, which my age is 36, and of course I would love to retire by the age of 50, let's keep these things pretty much the same. So I would say my pre-tax salary is 100,000, so I'll pretend, and the post I get about 80,000 euros. My annual spending is about 40,000 euros now, and let's make this annual spending a bit up, and this as well. So I'm saying my annual spending is about 50,000 euros now. let's push it up a little bit more as well. 60,000 euros now, and after retirement I'm spending a little bit less. What is my current net worth? Let's put in again some number just to help this calculation. So I assume that let's say I have 200,000 euros, and then my end age, which is basically the age that will be the time when the money should end, is put 67, but I will put 90 over here. And over here I have 100% installed in stocks, invested in stocks, sorry. I don't do any cash allocation in this case. Let's say everything is 0, and I have a safe withdrawal rate of 4% is what it says. Inflation is about 3%, and if you look at that, I'm barely even making the FIRE number. So it says this is what I need to get to the FIRE number, but I won't achieve it because I am spending way too much and not having enough. So of course, one thing I can do is increase the number of years that I'm working, and then you can see it starts getting closer and closer. And if I do 60, then you see I actually do hit the time where I hit my FIRE number. So the actual number is about 56. If I invest until the age of 56, the rest of the money, which is like about 20,000 euros every year, then I can retire at the age of 56, and I can then spend pretty much all my money. Over here you can see this dent comes because at the age of 60 I stop putting in money and then I'm consuming, so I'm doing more withdrawal. And here you can see that I started with 100,000, then every year I'm putting in 20,000 euros, and this is the point where I actually hit my goal, but I still go on for a few years, and then I'm able to get to this point, and from here I'm kind of withdrawing money, and you can see that that the number kind of doesn't go down, because for 1.5 million, if you assume 8% to 10%, you're still about 100,000 euros, and I'm still putting back 50,000 euros. So it's still just going up. Yeah, so this is what the number is. Play around with it and then see how it feels.
Now, coming back to what are the constraints, which I've also put in writing, is two things you have to worry about. One is what is your return on your stocks and bonds and assets that you have. And two is what is your withdrawal rate. These two things you have to pay way close attention to. So let's say if your stock returns start going to 20%, yeah, you can withdraw close to 8-9%, and you're still going to be very comfortably able to not touch your principal and keep growing your asset. But on the other hand, if the market starts going a bit down, which I don't think it would for like quite a long time, but if it starts going a bit down and starts producing 5%, 4%, 5% returns on your investments, either because you made it a deliberate choice to buy individual stocks and invest in multiple ways, or the ETFs like an S&P or NASDAQ is starting to give you lower returns because its market is overvalued, then you would not be able to withdraw a 4%. You would be able to withdraw a little bit lower, and that is the only thing you have to be careful about. So you could withdraw then maybe 3%, 2%, which would mean you're withdrawing more like 40,000 and 36,000 to keep. In this case, the best scenario would be that you hold some money in cash to cover those times, or you aim for a lower withdrawal rate. So in my case, what I do is I try to aim for low withdrawal rate, which is about 3%. And I also make an assumption always that there is a lower return of 7% coming from the overall market, because I'm only investing broadly in the overall market. That way, I'm pretty good within the standard deviation of these, and I'm staying very close to the center. And when there's tough times, then I'm able to still have some wiggle room to take a chance. Yeah, this is FIRE. I've not achieved FIRE, but that's the goal that I'm also trying to do. So that is for FIRE. Now let's talk about different types of FIRE. And it's well known that there are different types of FIREs available. So because everybody's needs are different, and that's why it's personal finance, because everybody's financial needs are different. So what I think is luxurious, you might not think it's luxurious. What I think is a holiday, somebody else might not think that's a holiday. What I think is a good car is not what somebody else thinks it's a good car. So it's very different for what everybody wants. Of course, that means our yearly expenses are different. So it doesn't mean that we all have exactly the same yearly expense. So there are different types of FIRE that you can also think about. So first is the lean FIRE, which means that you keep your expenses really low, which is what Mr. Money Mustache, I think, has done. He's kept his really expenses really, really low. I think he keeps it at like $30,000, which is impressive. Pay off his mortgage, everything, keep it super low so you can kind of survive doing this for really long. He drives like a 30-year-old car. He's happy to take the risk. He's able to build most of his stuff himself. So this is what a lot of people can do as well. Then you have the fat FIRE, which is the other extreme. So I know a friend of mine who thinks, hey, I want to be able to go to a holiday every 2 months, go really far away. I want to only fly business class, and I want to drive a car which is 100,000 euros, things like this. Then you have an yearly expense of, let's say, 150,000 net, and that you have to multiply into 25, and that you know your number. So you need a good 4-5 million to be even able to get closer to doing those. So yeah, that's what you would assume that you need for a fat FIRE. That's what fat FIRE is. Of course, you can calculate this all in the calculator, so please play around. I think it's very interesting. And then you have the barista FIRE. Barista FIRE is basically you say, hey, I'm not going to completely retire, but I'm going to do something on the side. So which is, to be honest, what I'm aiming for. Instead of working 5 days a week, I would love to work 3 days a week, and 2 days a week pick up a hobby, play a bit of tennis, I don't know, spend more time with my kids, things like this. So you basically don't have to push yourself to cover the full, let's say, 50,000 euros. You're only trying to achieve to get to 30,000 euros. And the rest 20,000 euros, you know, hey, I can make 20,000 euros by doing even a small job. So that is what a barista FIRE is. The concept is you can work as a barista and still survive. So that's the barista FIRE. And the last one is also a coast FIRE. So a coast FIRE is basically you already build early. So it's ideal for people who start really early in their investing journey. You kind of build up till a particular time, or you say like, hey, until I have kids and until I have very strong personal commitments, I invest all of it. So I'm investing close to, let's say, until I'm 35, and then I have a mortgage and I have kids and things, and I don't want to invest anymore after that. And you already build up the corpus, and then you let that corpus compound, but you don't add anything additional to it. So the corpus is growing by itself. You keep your, you don't put in any extra money, which means you could kind of relax a bit as well. And at the back, the money is just growing by itself. And then you retire when you feel like retiring. So again, look at the calculators. All of them are available in the link. Play around with it. Please ask more questions. This is what the group is about. Yeah, good luck, and thank you for joining the group again. Cheers.